They hit me with a $50,000 fine for building a dam. A dam, mind you. That was the only thing keeping their precious subdivision from turning into a mosquito breeding ground every time it rained. But instead of a letter or a warning, they sent an actual sheriff's deputy to my door, like I'd robbed a bank, threatening jail if I didn't tear it down myself. And standing there behind him. You ever get that feeling you're living in a bad sitcom? Yeah, that happened. She figured she had me. Thought I'd pay up, say sorry, and disappear. But after 4 decades wiring buildings and fixing things that should have never broken in the first place, I don't exactly fold when someone in a blazer tries to scare me. I'd been in this house for 30 years. Raised my kids here. Patched every leak. Built every fence with my own 2 hands. And planned to spend my retirement doing little more than fussing in the yard, maybe taking my grandkids fishing behind the house. Nothing wild. Except, there was always this creek behind our block, and every time the sky opened up, it'd jump the banks and turn our little cul-de-sac into a swamp. I lost count of how many things got ruined. Rick next door drowned his brand new mower in it once. Carla's shed flooded and buckled so bad, she had to bulldoze the whole thing. We all complained, begged the HOA for years, laying rocks and concrete, shaping the channel, making sure the water would slow down and follow a natural path through the woods. It wasn't the Hoover Dam, just enough to do the job. First big storm after I finished, I stood out there like a fool in the rain, heart in my throat, and watched the water rise, pause, and then ease away. Yard stayed dry for the first time in years. Not 5,000, 50 grand. My hands actually shook as I read it. And I thought, there's no way this is real, right? Maybe it's a typo. Maybe once I call, this'll all go away. So I dial the number. Evelyn herself answers. That voice so sweet it could cut glass. There's no mistake, Mr. Miller, she purrs. You violated regulations, the fine stands. I try to explain, the creek was a hazard. The neighbors are grateful, I fixed their problem. She interrupts. We don't govern by feelings, we govern by rules, and hangs up. That's when I realized, this wasn't a misunderstanding, this was a hit job. I was furious, but then something caught my eye in the mess of paperwork she'd stapled together. County permits, but the seal looked off, blurry, like a bad photocopy. Of the floods, every email where the HOA admitted they knew the creek was a problem, every receipt from my dam project. Set up a wildlife cam to capture how the dam worked when it stormed. Next downpour, I got it all on video, water rising, slowing at the dam, then draining out with 0 damage. But Evelyn wasn't done. She fired back with another fine, this time $10. 000 for privacy violations because of my camera. And, as if to twist the knife, the HOA put up their own cameras on the lamppost right outside my house, all pointed at me. Pure intimidation. That's when I knew I needed backup. So I called Maya. We used to work together at the power plant. She's a civil engineer, sharp as a tack, sees through nonsense from a mile away. She comes over, looks at the dam, reads the paperwork, bursts out laughing at how lazy the forgery was. She does her own survey, runs numbers, then hands me a stamped report. Jack, this is a legit gravity weir. Wrote a bogus report and left in under a minute. Every time they tried, I caught it on camera. Now, Evelyn started targeting anyone who backed me. Rick got fined for his grass being too tall. Carla, for having the wrong color mailbox. People started keeping their heads down, afraid they'd be next. I knew I had to do more than defend myself. I had to give people a way to fight back. So I made a little guide, document everything, timestamp every notice, keep a log. Slipped copies into mailboxes at night. Little acts of rebellion, but it got people thinking. Then came a full-on deluge. By morning, my yard was a swamp. Rick's mower was floating. Carla's patio furniture had drifted away. Everything I warned them about, right on cue. This time, I documented. Crew. Reporter named Sarah came out. I showed her everything. The fake documents, the storm footage, the staged photos, the evidence of harassment. She interviewed Rick and Carla, walked through the mess. That night, our story was everywhere. They showed Evelyn on TV, ducking questions outside the grocery store, red-faced and stammering. The next HOA meeting? The place was packed. For once. It wasn't just the usual 6 folks in folding chairs. The whole neighborhood showed up, angry about years of petty fines and bogus rules. People shouted, told stories, and finally, I stood up. Calm as could be. I held up my phone. Photo of Evelyn's forged signature, video of her car at my house at sunrise. Room went dead quiet. Even Tom wouldn't look her in the eye. Evelyn gathered her things and left. By the end of the night, she'd resigned. The board scrambled to cover themselves, rescinded all my fines, apologized publicly, offered to pay for the flood damage out of the HOAs. Drop your take in the comments. Share your own HOA war stories if you've got one, and let's see just how many of us there are. Because the more people speak up, the harder it is for bullies like Evelyn to run the show. I thought, after all that, life might finally settle back to normal. You know, just weekends in the yard, the occasional neighbor waving as they walk by, maybe the dam becoming. Though, no threats, no smirks, just doing her job. She asked if she could inspect the dam, take a few samples, maybe chat with my neighbors. I agreed. What choice did I have? Still, as I watched her team tromp down to the creek with their measuring gear, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was right back in the crosshairs. That night, Rick and Carla stopped by, worried. You think they'll make? They'll see it's better than before. Still, old scars run deep, and I didn't sleep much that week. A few days later, Denise came back, files in hand. She sat at my kitchen table, sipping bad coffee, and laid it all out. Mr. Miller, your dam's actually improved runoff quality. Water downstream is cleaner, erosion's down, local frogs are thriving. To be honest, we wish more neighborhoods handled things like this. I let out a laugh that was half relief, half disbelief. All those nights worrying, and it turned out I'd accidentally helped the environment. She did mention one thing, though. My dam had become something of a local wildlife hotspot. You ever see otters out here? She asked, and I nearly choked. I hadn't, but over the next week. Sure enough, we started spotting them. Playful, fat little things, slipping in and out of the water, sometimes sunning themselves right on the concrete I'd poured. Pretty soon, word got around. Families started coming by just to catch a glimpse, kids with binoculars, teenagers snapping photos for Instagram. My quiet backyard started feeling more like a nature preserve. At first, I didn't mind. Heck, it was kind of nice seeing the neighborhood rally around something good for once. But with crowds came trouble. One Saturday, I looked out and saw a couple of teenagers had pulled the "No Trespassing" sign off my fence and were climbing down the creek bank, trying to feed the otters snacks from a bag of Cheetos. By Sunday, there was litter along the banks, footprints all through my wife's flower beds, and a local dog owner letting his mutt swim right in the main channel. It was like whack-a-mole, trying to keep order. I spent more time patching fences. The extra foot traffic are lowering property values and disturbing the peace. I nearly laughed in his face. If anything, the dam had made this place worth living in again. But this wasn't a joke. The developer was serious. Turns out, he'd been buying up lots, planning to build a string of fancy townhomes along the creek, and now my little dam and its happy band of otters were in the way. That night, I sat out back with Maya and Rick, staring at the water under a full moon, trying to make sense of it all. You ever get tired of fighting? Rick asked, and I just shrugged. I guess it's what I'm best at. We called a meeting, real grassroots this time, just neighbors and friends, no official agenda. Folks packed into my garage, standing room only. Some were worried, some angry, a few just there for the spectacle. But when Maya got up and explained how the dam was doing more good than harm, cleaner water, better wildlife, even less flooding, the mood started to change. People started brainstorming, tossing out ideas. What if we petitioned the county? Got the dam declared a protected site? Hosted an otter day for the community? Raised some positive press? Even Carla, who usually hated attention, offered to lead a cleanup crew on weekends. That's when it hit me. The fight wasn't really about a pile of concrete and rocks. It was about standing up for something real, something that actually mattered to people, even if it started as just a fix for an old creek. The lawsuit dragged on for months, got nasty, sure. There were moments I wanted to pack up, walk away, just let the whole mess go. But every time, someone new would drop by, bring cookies, offer to write a letter, or just say thanks. The dam became more than mine, it was ours. By the creek, Maya and Rick laughing at something I couldn't hear, and I realized I wouldn't trade this mess for anything. So let me ask you, would you keep fighting if it meant risking your peace? Or let it all go just to avoid the trouble? Was I stubborn or just doing what any decent neighbor should? Leave your take below. Maybe you've been through the ringer with a developer or an HOA yourself, and if so, you've got my respect. And hey, if you ever find yourself at war over a dam, just remember, you never know who's on your side until you really need them. Hit like, share, and drop your story, because sometimes the only thing standing between a bully and your home is a stubborn old man and a few friends willing to stand up for what's right.